As you climb the ranks in Rocket League, it gets harder to work out what you should be improving on. Analyzing your replays is one method to identify weaknesses in your gameplay and how you can work on them. Hey, I'm Jack. I've been playing Rocket League since 2016 and have put over 5,000 hours into the game. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can analyze your own Rocket League replays. I will also analyze one of my own recent replays later in the video so you can see it put into practice. Let's get into it. You're probably wondering, what's the purpose of even analyzing your Rocket League replays in the first place? Well, the purpose is to see where you are going wrong in Rocket League and what you can do to fix it. It allows you to identify any weaknesses in your gameplay that your opponents may be capitalizing on, and also to realize that not all errors are made by your teammates. Sometimes the blame needs to be put on your shoulders. To get the most out of analyzing your Rocket League replays, you really need to look at it from your point of view and seeing where you're going wrong. If ever I'm being quick to blame a teammate throughout a game, I'll hop into the replay shortly after to see if there was anything that I could have done from my end to have prevented the ball from being scored in our own net. After all, Rocket League is a team sport too, so analysing my replays was a chance for me to really put the blame on my shoulders and see where I could be improving and helping my teammates out. There are quite a few things to look for when analysing your replays. Your decision making, your boost management, looking at positioning on the field. That includes yourself, your teammates, and your opponents. And finally, any mechanical mistakes you're making. And just a quick note, there is much more you can focus on when analysing your replays, but I believe these 4 parts are the most critical to improving your gameplay. A lot of players are aware of the benefits of analysing their replays and what they should be looking out for, but most get stuck on where to actually start with analysing their replays. Before you start analysing your replays though, I recommend having something you can take notes on to write down the mistakes you're finding in your replays. For example, pushing up too quickly to challenge the ball, awkward aerial takeoffs, and so on. The benefit to noting down these things when analysing your Rocket League replays is you've got a document there ready to show what you need to actually be working on. Maybe it's trying to find a training pack that you can be using before heading into competitive, or potentially spending more time in free play to work on a mechanic that doesn't seem to be sticking at the moment. Alright, now we can start looking at your replay. I'd recommend going to the first mistake in the game that you make and looking at it from your point of view. Rewind just a little bit before the mistake and ask yourself what happened before making the mistake. Were you being contested from behind from one of your opponents? Or was your car positioned awkwardly to cause a mechanical mistake? Take note of what happens after the mistake. Did it lead to your opponents then taking possession and capitalizing on an open net? Or were your teammates actually in a good enough position to back you up and make up for the mistake you've made to then set up for the next play in offense? If you want to take it a little step further, what does the mistake look like from your teammates and your opponents' perspectives? Looking at it from their perspectives also allows you to see what you actually look like to them on the field and how you're acting. Many times I wonder why my teammates weren't even in the position to back me up, but then looking at it, seeing how weirdly I was actually positioned on the field to make them not want to push up the field at all. When looking at it from your opponent's perspective, you can also see how predictable you are on the field. I know for me, I can be quite slow to the ball and often quite a slow-paced player, and a lot of times the faster players that I play against capitalize on that. After taking the time to see what exactly caused you to make that mistake, then identify what was the right decision to make in that situation. I say this as it's likely you'll encounter a very similar or the exact same situation in future games too, so you'll know how to approach it from analysing your replays. Now, start to work through your replay play by play. I suggest working through your replay from your point of view as much as possible in the first instance. Then, if you have the time, start working through that same replay from both your teammates and opponent's point of view to see how they work around you during a game. You may notice your teammates not trusting you as much due to the hesitation you're displaying throughout the game, or potentially seeing that your opponents have figured out the common mistakes you continue to make throughout the game, such as challenging for the ball too early. Pay attention to when goals are scored by your opponents and spend the most time analysing the plays that led to them. Use my 4 points to look for here as well. More often than not, it's because you've made the wrong decision somewhere. And yes, your teammate may have made the mistake that led to the goal, but please look at it from the perspective of what you could have done better to have supported your teammate in that situation. We're aiming to improve your gameplay here, not your teammates. Stewing over what they're doing wrong during a game isn't going to help you improve at all. Okay, so you've got an idea of what to look for when analysing your replays. Now, I'm going to go through one of my recent replays, well, quite an old replay as I haven't played competitive much this season, that'll go through these points that I'm trying to highlight in today's video and how you can put them into practice with analysing your replays. Let's get into the replay. Okay, so this was probably the last time I played competitive and was quite into it, so getting into the replay, I pushed up probably a bit too close and as a result was quite easily beaten to the ball. So if we go back and we have a quick look, I'd probably push up just to the first boost pad. I think I pushed up way too early, and as a result was quite easily beaten to the ball. So my fault on that part for pushing up too early for that kickoff as well. So I think I also lost this game 5-6. So it was quite an up-down game. Decent kickoff by me. Pushing over to get mid boost, teammate goes for the goal, and we get the equalizer. Again, let's see if I push up forward or go for boost. So I do push up forward. Again, pushing up a bit too close, and then as a result, see, I'm just giving possession away and letting my opponent get the ball. Again, probably challenge that a bit too weirdly. So if we look at it, my car's probably not in the best position to read the ball. Probably would have been a bit better just to stay a bit behind in goal to really know what the next player was from my opponents. Again, pushing up a bit too close and just very slow, like with that challenge. If I had committed fully to the ball and actually got a bit more speed, I probably would have been able to contest with a 50, but just as a result was too slow to actually get to the ball in the first place. Into this next replay and next play. Not bad, kickoff by me. Again, just in a bit of la-la land still. And okay, let's see what happened there. Got a good kickoff, decent. Probably best, so rather than picking up that boost pad, probably should have angled along to pick up those mini boost pads. Probably taking those boost pads on the left rather than the big boost pad, which maybe would have been able to let me make a play on defense as my teammate got beaten to the ball. We're looking here, like the opponent's already up, so I'm beaten every day of the week. So in a way, it's just a bit of a waste of opportunity by my part and overcommitting for no real reason. Okay, a bit of an awkward one, how my teammate, well, luckily I was able to get the save, but yeah, in this instance, I would argue that I'd be going for the ball. But if we go back to Jerd's view, let's have a look to see what it looks like from his point of view too. Okay, so Jerd's had a Jerd's had a full boost as well, but also a better positioning. I feel like if I was here, he didn't see me either, so I should have had the trust and the faith in Jerd and let him actually clear the ball, because I'm on 12 boost now as well, so I can't really make a play. I'm only just playing for a 50, and as a result, it leads into a goal. So I actually didn't see that on the replay. Okay, let's see where I am. So very risky for me to be pushing up here. Yes, I've got 100 boost, but Jerd is also up, and I've also got two opponents clearly beating me to the ball already. So just being mindful that however you position yourself and the patience needed to attack the ball is quite important as well. And I find that's one of my biggest weaknesses is I tend to challenge the ball way too early, and as a result, it led to a goal. And that was purely by me rushing that ball way too early. Okay, so I'm in La La Land. Look how much space is between Jerd and I. You've essentially got an open net. If ... or Catalog were able to get possession on the ball and go for an easy boom, that'd be a goal, and it was because of my positioning. Sorry, first time doing this Rocket League analysis. All right, so I picked up the 100 boost in that corner. I should be pushing infield to support Jerd on the next play, because I've essentially taken 200 boosts, and this is just not necessary. Jerd and I weren't able to capitalize on the play, so I go for a risky bump. And again, look at how much distance is between Jerd and I. And I think also one thing that comes into play is if you're not coming with people, it's very difficult to see what they're actually doing. Okay, and as we can see, this is what leads to the ball being scored. So I pushed up quite closely, and Catalog is just about to launch the ball. I push, as Catalog hits the ball, I push a bit further. I don't all of a sudden put on my brakes and then go up for an aerial, and as a result, very awkward and scores an easy goal. So that's an idea of what you need to look for with your Rocket League replay analysis as well. This is just a general idea of what I tend to look for when I'm going through my Rocket League replays. It's mainly my boosting, my positioning on the field, and how my opponents and my teammates view me as well. So that's a little taste of what a Rocket League replay will look like for you guys. So there we have it. Many times Rocketeers are putting hours each week into mechanics and training, but if they're not analysing their mistakes, they're likely not to see any improvement in their gameplay. Not only will analysing Rocket League replays help you figure out what you need to work on, you're likely to encounter similar situations in future games that you'll know how to position yourself for, and even when you should be challenging the ball. The more time you spend on analysing your replays, the more insight you will get into your own gameplay, and the game in general. But hey, I can only talk to you in this video. I can't make you sit down and analyze your replays. Ever wondered why it's so hard to rank up in Rocket League? Click on this video to find out. I'm Jack, and I'll see you next video. Catch ya!